412 Theophilus, Patriarch of Alexandria. 892 Al-Mu'tamid, Abbasid Caliph 870-92, dies at about 50. 898 Lambert, Holy Roman Emperor and King of Italy 891-898. 912 Abdullah ibn Muhammad, 7th Emir of Córdoba 888-912, dies at 68. 961 Abd al-Rahman Roman III, Umayyad Emir 912-29, and 1st Caliph of Córdoba 929-961, dies at 70. In 1002 Otto Henry, Duke of Burgundy b. 946. In 1080 Rudolf of Rheinfeld, Duke of Swabia and German anti-king. In 1268 Dirk II, Mr. of Valkenburg, dies. In 1271 Hoshensis Henricus the Segusia, Cardinal and Bishop of Austria, dies. In 1326 Walter de Stapledon, English Bishop 1308-26, dies at 65. In 1389 Urban B.I. Bartolomeo Prignano, Italian Pope 1378-89, dies. In 1404 Marie of Valois, Princess of France, dies at 60. In 1512 Antoon Keldermans, Brabant builder Middelburg Town Hall, dies at 72. In 1524 Joachim Patinir, Flemish landscape painter, dies at about 45. In 1539 Reynier Brunt, Procureur General of Court of Holland, dies. In 1595 Abu al-Faiz ibn Mubarak Faizi, Persian-Dutch East Indies poet, dies at 48. In 1614 Robert Smythson, early English architect Hardwick Hall, dies at about 80. In 1651 James Stanley 7th Earl of Derby, English aristocrat who fought on the royalist side during English Civil War, executed for treason after being captured by Roundhead forces at 44. In 1674 Robert Herrick, English poet Gather Ye Rose But While Ye May, dies at 83. In 1682 John Ferrabosco, English organist at Ely Cathedral and composer, dies at 56. In 1715 Humphry Ditton, English mathematician, dies at 40. In 1730 Antoine de Lamothe Cadillac, French explorer and trader in New France, founder of Detroit and governor of Louisiana 1710-16, dies at 71. In 1788 Samuel Greig, Scottish-Russian Admiral, Battle of Jessmore, dies at 53. In 1789 John Morgan, American physician-in-chief of Continental Army and co-founder of the Medical College at the University of Pennsylvania, the first medical school in Colonial America, dies at 54. In 1810 Alfred Moore, American Attorney General of North Carolina 1782-91 and Supreme Court Judge 1800-04, dies at 55-12. In 1811 Nathaniel Dance-Holland, English painter b. 1735. In 1817 Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, Swiss traveller and Orientalist, first European to discover Petra and Abu Simbel, dies at 32. Polish-Lithuanian military leader and statesman considered a national hero, dies at 71 after falling from a horse, developing a fever and suffering a stroke. In 1819 Princess Louise of Orange-Nassau, daughter of Viceroy Wilhelm V. Wilhelmina of Prussia, dies at 48. In 1819 Sergei Vyazmitynov, Russian general and statesman, dies at 75. In 1820 Carl Philipp, Prince of Schwarzenberg, Austrian Field Marshal, dies at 49. In 1833 Mikhail Ogiski, Polish diplomat, violinist, balalaika player, and composer Farewell to My Homeland, dies at 68. In 1837 Ivan Dmitriev, Russian statesman, Minister of Justice, 1810-14, and poet Liberation of Moscow, dies at 77. In 1838 Letticher Elizabeth Landon, English poet Heath S. Book of Beauty, dies at 36. In 1852 Friedrich Ludwig Jahn, German educator and founder of the Turnverein gymnastics movement, dies at 74. 1873 Elena Agnes Lee, American daughter of U.S. Confederate General Robert E. Lee, dies of typhoid fever at 32. In 1883, Francesco Schira, Maltese-born composer, dies at 74. In 1889, Edward Aylesworth Perry, American soldier and politician general under Lee for Confederate Army, 14th Governor of Florida 1885-89, dies of a stroke at 58. In 1891, Gilbert Arthur Beckett, English writer Punch, dies at 54. In 1891, William Henry Fitzhugh Lee, American Major General Confederate Army, dies at 54. In 1900, Zdenka Fibic, Czech classical composer aka Epidemia, Moods, Impressions, and Reminiscences, dies at 49. In 1902, Thomas Oliver Selfridge, American naval officer who served during the Mexican-American War and the Civil War, dies at 98. In 1910, Larkin Goldsmith Mead, American sculptor who worked in Florence, dies at 75. In 1910, Stanley Ketchel, the Michigan assassin, Polish-American heavyweight boxing champion 1908-10, murdered at a ranch in Missouri at 24. In 1914, Alexander Ricki, Polish pianist, composer, and music teacher, dies at 59. In 1918, Antonio Cotogni, Italian operatic baritone Verdi and voice teacher, dies at 87. In 1918, Sai Baba of Shiradi, Indian saint b. circa 1838. In 1920, Hendrik Peter Stahl, Dutch military officer, administrator, Minister of War, 1905-07, and politician, member of the Senate, 1907-20, dies at 75. In 1930, Ernest Wilson, English botanist, plant collector in China, dies in a car accident at 54. French President 1913-20 and three-time Prime Minister 1912-13, 1922-24, 1926-29, dies at 74. In 1937, James Marcus, American actor, The Eagle, The Lonely Trail, dies from a heart attack at 70. In 1944, Philip Mechanicus, Dutch journalist, executed at Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp at 55. Prime Minister of France 1931-32 and 1935-36 and head of Vichy France 1942-44, executed by firing squad for high treason at 62. German Nazi Party leader, convicted war criminal, Vice-Chancellor of Germany 1941-45 and World War I fighter pilot Ace, poisons himself in prison at 53. In 1948, Edith Chapman, American actress b. 1863. In 1955, Fumio Sarkar, Japanese film score composer Rashomon, Seven Samurai, dies of tuberculosis at 41. In 1958, Jack Mason, English cricketer, England all-rounder via Australia 1897-98, dies at 84. In 1958, Jan Portenaar, Dutch painter, etcher and cartoonist, dies at 72. In 1958, John Hamilton, American actor, The Adventures of Superman Perry White, dies of heart failure at 71. In 1959, Lipti Fedor Leopold Weiss, Hungarian mathematician known for his work on Fourier series, dies at 79. Ukrainian nationalist, leader of the terrorist Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, OUNB, anti-communist fighter, who both courted and